and welcome to your new favorite Bookish podcast, Fully Booked and Caffeinated. I'm Kelsey, and today we have our monthly bonus episode, Bookish, Banter, and More, where we discuss the other books we've been reading this past month and whether we recommend them, and also our other favorite pop culture obsessions. This is March's recap, and we're just desperately waiting for spring around here. I don't have anything else to say other than we had 4 or 5 days of good weather, and that's about it. So let's talk about what we're drinking. What are you drinking, Heather?
As we discussed before we started recording, it's been a week. So I am having a original Fisher's Island lemonade.
I love that. Love to hear it.
What about you?
I was gonna have a beer, and then it was too cold in the room where I'm recording, so
That's fair.
I made a tea. So I have a chai tea, which is hitting the spot. But once again, I should have added whiskey to my tea. But here we are.
Right?
Cheers. Okay, so do you want to tell us about the other books that you read this past month? Not for the pod.
So I have 3. First is an audiobook. I listened to The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. When I joined Bookstagram 2 years ago, there were so many new romance authors that I literally had no idea existed. And she's one of them. She's like an Italian author, but her books are super popular. She's also a scientist. So a lot of her books deal with science. So it was a lot listening to it on the audio because I don't really get what they're saying. And so it wasn't my favorite, but the main guy, whose name, of course, I'm blanking on, was amazing. And he had a side to him that I never would have thought existed, and I was very happy when it came out.
Okay.
I would recommend it. It's not a bad romance novel, but it's just a lot of the science just wasn't for me. And I like science, but it was just a little too much stuff.
Maybe not for listening to.
Yeah, I agree. I think if I read it, I would have seen it differently than listening to it. But all in all, would recommend. And then I read an arc that I had from NetGalley, which came out this week. Actually, I think it was released this past Wednesday, the 26th. So it was How to Solve Your Own Murder by Kristen Perrin. It was this really fun murder mystery novel. Definitely is Agatha Christie meets Knives Out. So I really enjoyed it. Definitely, I do recommend it. It's a fun read. It won't make you think a lot, which you would think that it would, but it doesn't. So I would say this is a good kind of like palate cleanser. If you read something super serious and you want to like go into something a little bit quirky, this is a good one. I would actually suggest.
I like that.
Yeah. And then my favorite read was What Lies in the Woods by Kate Alice Marshall, which you had read a few months ago. Loved it. This was so good. Really, really enjoyed this one.
I agree. It's such a well done thriller.
Yeah. And it really had me guessing, and 99% of the time I can guess who the killer is or what happened. And this book, I actually didn't see it coming. So that was fun for me. I appreciated that.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited to read more by her.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. So I would recommend all 3 of my books. Yes.
Okay, that's successful. Okay, this month I was kind of in a reading slump, and you wouldn't know it because I read the same amount as usual, but I was just not as motivated or excited to read, and I also had some books that I just really didn't like, so I think it just all contributed to that. I'm hoping like once the weather gets better and I'm outside with my iced coffee and the sunshine, it'll be a little better. But all that being said, there were 3 thrillers I read that I did not enjoy. I rated them 2.5 stars, and I think one of them was 3 stars. And I'm giving the disclaimer because these aren't necessarily bad books. They just didn't do it for me. And I think it's because I'm in kind of a rut. And I'm also super critical of thrillers now. So just always take my opinions with a grain of salt, as always. So I'm going to start with those 3. So I read The Pact by Sharon Bolton. Wasn't crazy about it. I thought it was trying too hard. I listened to First Lie Wins by Ashley Elston, which was, I think that was the January book of the month pick, right? Yeah, so I ended up listening to that on Spotify. It was good, and it was definitely twisty, but I just didn't like the main character, so I just didn't care that much when things were happening.
When you don't like the main character, you're not going to like the book.
Yeah, and it's like, I like unlikable main characters, like just I like sarcastic, you know my vibe.
Mm-hmm.
But she was just like very cocky for no reason. And I was like, okay. I don't know. It was just weird vibes that I was getting. But I have seen a lot of people like it. And I know that like it was very twisty and there was a lot going on. So I could see how people could be into it. I think it's just me being overly critical. And then The Kind Worth Killing by Peter Swanson. This is like, I think I described it as imagine a bunch of murderers walk into a bar.
I did see that, yeah.
And they're just trying to figure out who's going to kill someone first. Like it was just a very weird premise and I just couldn't get into it. So when all the twists started happening, I was just like, I don't care. So, but I did finish all of those. And then today I DNF'd. That's my second DNF of the year.
I'm proud of you.
This is great. I was so excited. Eric got home and I was like, guess what? I'm DNFing this book. And he was like, well, how far are you? I was like 65%. And he's like, oh, well, you should just finish it. And I was like, no. And he's like, no, sorry. I'm proud of you. Sorry. I was like, I'm not finishing it. So that was Cosmology of Monsters by Sean Hamill. I was really excited about this because it's about monsters, but it was a little too sci-fi for me. I'm not really into the sci-fi too much. Yeah, so it was a little too strange. And that's saying something because I like strange horror books.
Mm-hmm.
So let's move on to the books I actually liked.
Yay.
So I read Starling House by Alex E. Harrow. This was a slow start, but the last third of the book was really, really good. I think they have it categorized as horror because it has a lot of horror elements, but I think it was much more magical realism. It was kind of like a fairy tale, dreams becoming nightmares. It has a very unlikable main character who gets her hero arc. So like this is an unlikable main character that I could get behind and I was rooting for her. So I think you would like this one. It definitely had like a lot of magical elements.
Love that. I do have it because it was my choice when it was book of the month.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got it on my Kindle, so I didn't realize that it was book of the month.
Mm-hmm.
And then off of your recommendation, I read Finlay Donovan is Killing It by Elle Cosimano. And I really liked it. I thought it was it kind of the same thing that you said about the murder mystery that you read. I felt the same way about this. It's like it was fun and lighthearted and entertaining. Even though it was a murder mystery, it wasn't very like graphic or dark. So it kind of you didn't have to take it too seriously either. And there was a lot going on, but it wasn't hard to follow.
I know, and that was what I felt about this book. That book, there was so much going on, but it didn't matter. Like it didn't throw off the story. It kind of ended up going together. But I actually just downloaded the second book to my Kindle. I haven't started it yet, but I did download the second book.
Oh yeah, because it ends on a little cliffhanger. Yeah, so I liked that. And then my favorite read of the month was The Haunting of Maddie Clare by Simone St. James. I talked about Simone St. James a lot on this podcast, and I have liked her other books a lot, but this one I loved. Like 5 stars, loved it. It's paranormal historical fiction. And it has like small town vibes. There's an angry ghost with an agenda. There's some unexpected love. Just great writing, character development. It had a little feminist energy, which you know I love in my books. It had everything. So hands down my favorite. So even though I had kind of a rough reading month, at least I got a 5-star book out of it.
You did, know what I mean? And I think that's applaudable.
That's a success. And I DNF'd a book. That's another success.
I think it is. I fully agree with you.
All right, so the whole month wasn't a total waste.
Just a little bit of a waste.
Just a little bit. Okay, so now that March is over, there's actually a lot of releases coming out in April. I guess it's like the spring releases.
I do feel like a lot of books come out in the spring, summer, fall. I think that's a really big push for books.
It does make sense. I feel like those are just more reading months because people are outside, people are at the beach, people are on vacation.
Yep.
So that makes sense. What books are you looking forward to that come out in April?
Funny Story by Emily Henry comes out, which we did Beach Read last year, so she's now an author that I really like, so I do want to read Funny Story. And then The Age of Magical Overthinking by Amanda Montell comes out. who did the
Oh,
Cultish
yes,
book
I
that
saw
we
that.
read. So she has that book's coming out, and I
Okay.
did like Cultish, so I do want to pick that one up eventually.
Yeah, I
So I have
forgot that
those
that was
two.
coming out this month.
Yeah.
I saw that she posted about it.
Yeah, she's doing like a whole book tour and everything, if I remember
Hmm.
correctly from her podcast.
Okay. Yeah, I saw the Emily Henry one is coming out too, and that'll be a good beach read, even if beach read was not about the beach. Whatever. Go back and listen to our episode. It was good. Um, so I have Darling Girls by Sally Hepworth.
Yes.
Sally Hepworth is just a good domestic thriller
You
author.
like her,
I enjoy
right?
everything everything I read from her, I enjoy. Leigh Bardugo has a book coming out called The Familiar.
Oh, yes, I want to read this one too. I did see this.
Yeah, and that one looks cool. And then last but not least, Holly Jackson has a new book coming out. She's the one who wrote Good Girl's Guide to
I was
Murder.
wondering if you saw that.
Yeah, so it's called The Reappearance of Rachel Price. I just love her writing style. So I feel like I'm going to like it no matter what, just because I think she's fun to read. So I'm really excited for that
I
one.
think that I'm definitely going to do a good guide for one of our episodes this year, because I own it and I want to read it.
I would love that. It's a good one. And it'll be good it's a fun one. So as far as book news, we've been talking about some heavy stuff lately. We've been doing some crazy episodes, and I'm tired of the internet, to be honest.
Same.
I every time I go on TikTok, I'm like, it's enough. It's enough. I'm still on there, but it's enough.
I agree.
So I just have a little piece of funny that we're talking about this, because it's not a catch up because we didn't do the episode on it, but I saw set photos from the TV adaptation of A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, because BBC picked it up and they started filming. And actually, the girl who plays Pip, which is the main character, is Emma Myers, who plays Wednesday's roommate
Enid Sinclair
in the Netflix version. Yep. And she's so cute in that movie. So I think that she's going to be good in this.
That'll be fun.
And also, I love BBC. I feel like they do a good job with TV series.
They do. They really actually do.
Yeah. So I started seeing photos, and they don't have a date yet, but it is supposed to come out in 2024.
Nice.
So something to be excited about. Might be good to pair those up. Yeah.
What a plan.
What a plan we just made. Go us. Okay, so I think that's all we have for book stuff.
Yeah.
Let's move into TV, movies, podcasts, documentaries. What were you doing this past month?
Well, I've still been, watching every reality TV show possible that has to do with competition. So that's been a majority of my life. But when I wasn't watching that, I did watch Poor Things with Emma Stone.
Okay.
And I highly, highly recommend. You haven't watched it yet, right?
No, and you told me to watch it. And then I watched the trailer, and I was not sure if I would like it.
Because of the feminist theme in it, I think you will like it.
Okay.
Because it's such a good film about feminism and what it was and what it's become, and kind of like how it fluctuates. So I think that it was actually like really no.
You sold me, Heather.
Yeah,
I'm watching
it's weird. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's super weird, but it's so good. Like,
okay,
yeah,
I'll give it a chance.
I really think that you would like it, and if you don't, I apologize, but I do think that you'll like it.
Listen, it'll only be a couple hours out of my life that I've wasted.
Yeah, because it like starts in black and white for a little bit, and then I'm not even going to tell you what the concept is, because I don't want to give any of it away, because I was so shocked when I watched it. But when you find out why it starts in black and white, and then when it goes into color, it was so smartly done. She deserved to win
Pleasantville?
the Oscar.
Do you remember that movie?
It is like Pleasantville, but not a lot darker than Pleasantville.
God, I loved Pleasantville so much, though.
Disclaimer, though, a lot of sex. More sex
I
than you would ever.
That.
I had no idea that this was going to be. And I was talking to our friend about it, and someone had brought up that how can this movie be feminist when there's so much sex in it? And it's like, that's the fucking point. Like, realistically, the whole point of, like, you'll get it once. So
feminists aren't allowed to enjoy sex. Okay. Yeah. Never mind. Yeah. Let me not even get into it. Okay.
But yes. Okay. So I highly recommend that. And then I also watched Irish Wish on Netflix, the Lindsay Lohan rom-com.
You mean her comeback movie?
It was okay. It was like a Netflix rom-com, but it was cute, and it's good to see her back. She looks I'm happy that she bounced back.
She looks great. Like
She looks great.
she's glowing. She looks
just had her
healthy.
baby recently,
Mhm.
and so it was definitely like an interesting story. But it's good to have Ben on in like the background. Like you don't have to super
Mhm.
hyper focus on it, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's the start of her comeback, baby. We gotta give it to her.
Exactly. So yeah, those are the two things I've watched that aren't what we've been talking about
Okay.
forever.
Well, we did wrap up a couple shows this past month. So, Bachelor finale, which was just this past week.
This past Monday. Mm-hmm.
So, spoilers if you didn't watch it. But if you watched any of the season, you knew what was going to happen because it was pretty obvious, I thought.
So it was interesting because I had actually read like the Reality Steve before like it got really into the season, and they fucked up. They said that Daisy won.
Did they?
Yeah. So I went through the whole
and
season.
he's always right.
I went through the whole season thinking it was going to be Daisy, and as it got towards the end, I'm like, I don't think it's Daisy. And then I was like, did they actually mess it up? And it came out that yeah, like a month ago they revealed that they were wrong. Obviously.
Wow.
Because I feel like Kelsey and Joey are like literally perfect for each other.
Yeah, I did not see it between Daisy and Joey at all.
Mm-mm.
So I would have been surprised if I thought that was how it ended.
I give her so much respect because she admitted, like, she was able to admit that she's not ready to like date right now. So she turned down the Bachelorette, which I think is highly respectable because I feel like she could have just been like, whatever, I just want to get more followers and I just want to be like an influencer. And instead she was like, no.
Or like, I'm just going to force myself to be ready because they're not going to ask again, etc. Which, like, not for nothing, I don't think Joey was ready because he was still like very affected. I think he did a great job and I think it ended up working out, but I think it was too soon. So it probably would have been too soon for her. And then I heard that Maria turned it down also, which is very sad because I would have liked to see Maria.
I think that Daisy and Maria, though, will both be on Paradise.
Yeah. Oh, Maria will be perfect on Paradise.
Yeah. But I am happy that Jen got it because, like, it's good representation because it's the first Asian American lead. And I really liked her. So
I agree. I wish that they knew sooner that it was going to be her because I feel like she could have been not edited better because she was edited great.
No, she was edited
we
fine.
just didn't get to know her that well. So I feel like they could have included more of her so that we knew her more. But obviously, you know,
might be fun for
they'll
us
force her down our throats before her season starts. So
now we'll kind of like get to know her. It's like she's a newbie instead of knowing everything about her.
Yeah, that's true. And we won't see some random music video like Daisy's come out of the woodwork.
I didn't watch it, but I've seen like it posted.
She's not bad. Like her part isn't bad in it. But have you heard the song?
No.
Okay, you gotta look up the song. It's good. It's good.
Oh God.
It's good. Yeah. Anywho, also the Love is Blind finale happened, which feels like it was a year ago, but it was in March. And this season was good.
It was.
I really enjoyed it. I thought
it was a hot train wreck, but it was good.
Exactly. But an entertaining train wreck. And I loved the reunion. And just first of all, them bringing back all the other couples and being like, look at how successful we are. Look at all these people who are happy. And we're like, relaxed. And then at the end, when they forced all of these couples to be like, what do you miss most from the show? And they were like, the food, because they fed us so much food. And then they have like this big buffet spread of just like deli meat. And they're like, look at all the food that we feed everybody. No one could ever have a lawsuit against us. I was dying. It's like you're laying it on thick.
Yes, 100%.
It was so good. And then we both started Traders UK season 2, which is on Peacock. It is so good. I think that I like the host of Traders UK the best.
She's great.
She gets involved too. Like she's like screaming at them. She's cheering for them. I really enjoy her.
Yeah, and I like that they have a mom and son duo on it and like no one knows. And it was so funny because they were like, oh, Paul, you could be related to, I can't remember her name right now. And she was like, yeah, Diane. And then like a few minutes later, her son Ross
with an O.
He like his like, you know, his DR comes on. He's like, yeah. He's like, but she's my mom. I was like, what?
That's so funny. And the weird thing is, so they talked about it could be a mother and son, like Paul and Diane.
Mhm.
And then they like laughed about it and no one ever talked about it again. And I'm like,
I know.
guys, there has to be a relationship. There was a relationship on season 1. There has to be some
The
connected people here.
relationship was the couple, right?
Yes.
Season 1?
So I'm like, there has to be something sketchy and you guys are just glazing over it.
Yeah, but so far so
But
good. I think I'm like
yeah,
5 or 6 episodes in, and I love it. I think it's so much better than the first season.
yeah, I agree. And I loved the first
Me
season.
too, but this is just, and I've been watching Australia, which you finished, and that is just
so good.
I like
That
that
one is
they're
a
all so
slower
different.
start.
Yeah,
I felt like it took me
I
like 3
agree.
or 4 episodes to get into Australia, but once you get into it, it's worth it.
Yep.
And yeah, I what we were talking about before, like I like how Australia is so different, and I like how UK and US are different in that there's not like the reality stars and stuff, but it is a little repetitive to watch the same missions over and over and like the same setting and all that stuff. So we'll see. It's still really good. Other than that, oh, I watched 2 documentaries this month.
Oh,
The
that's right.
Program on Netflix. It's a 3-part docu-series on this like horrible organization for like problem children. It's kind of like the thing that Paris Hilton has been coming out about that she went to, but hers was for like celebrity kids.
So
This is for like
I heard about this all over my Facebook because I went to high school with somebody that was in the program.
okay.
So she's been like posting. I don't think she was in the documentary at all, but was. She's been sharing a lot about it, and so I've been meaning to watch it. So but you liked it? Was it good?
Yeah, I mean, it is. They show video,
Yeah,
and documents that they found. It's fucked up.
she like posted like a sample of like what they ate, and I was like, this is prisoners eat better than these kids ate.
Yeah. I mean, they would get in trouble for smiling. They'd get in trouble for talking. Like it's really sad, but it's good that they're exposing this because it's made by someone who was in the program and she just was like, I have to talk about this.
Yeah, so I do plan on watching that.
Yeah. So that's good. It's heavy though. It's a rough one. I didn't watch it all at once. And then I watched Quiet on Set, the Nickelodeon documentary on Max, and holy fuck. First off, let me say, just what a way to ruin my childhood.
Yeah,
All the things that made me happy when I was a child, and then knowing that all of that was going on behind the scenes. Even people who haven't seen it, you've obviously seen online that Drake Bell has come forward and finally talked about being sexually assaulted as a minor and just all these horrible, horrible things that he went through. And the internet has been so fucked up. Like people saying that he deserved it and people saying that we shouldn't feel bad for him because then he went on to, he didn't do the same things that were done to him. He did go on to have predatory behavior and he owns up to it in the documentary. But people saying that we're not allowed to feel bad for him or his experiences aren't valid because then he went and fucked up. First of all, it's proven time and time and time again that abuse breeds abuse, violence breeds violence. Like he's more inclined to have all these things happen to him, especially when all this happened during his formative years when he was a minor. Like it's so horrible. And just because he went on and wasn't a perfect person and he did horrible things doesn't mean that what he went through is okay.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
So it's definitely hard to watch. I also wanted more. Like I wanted more episodes. I wanted to hear more from these people. Like there's some people who only talk a little bit about their experiences and I feel like they didn't get the exposure about it that they wanted. Like one of the people said, I've been waiting 10 years, 15 years to talk about this. And then she only gets a little bit in the edit. You know what I mean? So it's like, I feel like they could have done more, but it's just bringing a lot to light. So let's talk about podcasts that we listened to this past month. I only have 2. Both of them are Call Her Daddy. One is Megan Fox. I was very excited to listen to it. It's very Megan Fox. Like she's just out of touch. And not in like a rich person way, but in like a not on this spiritual plane way. You know what I mean? But I mean, I liked it because I like Megan Fox. But it was just weird. It was kind of uncomfortable. I don't know. You got to listen to it. And then Brittany Snow was on just this past week. I love Brittany Snow so much. And this was a really good interview. She talks all about her eating disorder and how she struggled with that. And she's in recovery now. So, she talks a lot about that. She's producing a new movie, which is basically like because of that, like a result. Are they really? Is it going to be like an actual sequel or a remake?
Sophia Bush, Jesse Metcalf are like it's been all over my Instagram and stuff. Yeah, they're doing a sequel.
I love that. I love John Tucker Must Die. So good.
It's such a good movie.
So good.
So I'm just thinking about it because Brittany Snow, so I'm sure she's probably going to be involved too.
Yeah, so her episode's good. She talks a little bit about her ex-husband, which we all know the drama from selling OC. So that's why I listened, to be honest. But it was just a really good interview. She's, even when, because they have the video for Call Her Daddy, she's just like sitting with her legs crossed in like her little crew neck.
I saw the pictures and like snippets. And
she's just so much more relatable.
Before we came on, I saw like a TikTok about the interview and how like Alex Hall from Selling the OC like clapped back at her. It's like,
I didn't see that, but I'm not surprised because she does. She does drag her a little bit. Anyway, what podcast did you listen to?
I'm surprised that you didn't listen to this, and I feel like it's almost like a little Easter egg, but I listened to the Brittany and Justin 101. Love to see it.
Oh, I have that saved. I'm saving it as a little background listening for our episode next month.
I'm really glad that I listened to it beforehand too, because it was very informative.
Okay.
And it's actually insane. I'm not going to talk about anything because I want to wait till the episode, but some of the things that happened that I had no idea about, and how they really painted Justin Timberlake in such a brighter light than they did her. That's so fucked up. So there's going to be a lot to discuss. I already know.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk about that because it is finally coming to light just how differently women were treated.
Yeah. So it was a really well done episode by them. So I think you're really going to like it.
Okay. All right, great. Yeah, I'm definitely going to listen to that before our Brittany episode. Okay, so catch up corner. We got to talk about it. We promised. And I promised that I was going to watch Saltburn.
You did it.
And I did. I did. My first thought right off the bat is, you're not going to convince me that this actor is playing a high schooler. You're not going to convince me that this 50-year-old looking man, and I know he's only in his like mid-30s.
Yeah.
He's looks
also
rough.
like dating Sabrina Carpenter now, which how did he pull that? I have no idea.
Yeah.
Props. But I've seen this meme before where it's like, these actors get in these pivotal parts and they're not like super attractive men, but you're just so attracted to them. Like Jeremy Allen White and like The Bear. Like I'm like now so attracted to him.
But to be fair, I thought he was hot and Shameless too. And I knew that he wasn't, but he was.
Yeah. So
there's so many of those people, like if you saw them on the street, you wouldn't even look twice. No. But then you see them either in their character or just like acting and you're like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so other thoughts on Saltburn. If you haven't watched it, there's going to be spoilers. But if you haven't watched it, you already know. So here's the thing. I knew about the main scenes that were triggering. The bathtub, the grave.
The grave.
I asked you, I was like, which do you think is worse to watch? The bathtub with the just slurping or the grave? And this was before I had seen it. The grave is so much worse.
Yeah.
Like the bathtub is not that bad. It was actually more gross that that the drain of a bathtub is dirty. I don't care how often you clean your bathtub, that shit is dirty. And it just had all the dirty water going out of it, plus the jizz. And he just slurped it. Just got his tongue all in there. Oh God. Anyway, but the grave?
It was such a well done movie though. Like it was so good. And like I wasn't expecting any of what happened to happen. And then it was so funny because I kept hearing like the end song on TikTok and I didn't know what it was from. And then when I finally got to that scene, I was like, oh.
That makes sense. Yeah, I thought it was really well done too. My favorite reveal part, I thought the bike thing was weird because it was just like very elaborate. But I really liked the money thing where they show him like at the bar that he doesn't have any money. That was really cool. And
him like saying like his
I
parents were like dead or like,
oh my
and then like,
God.
oh my God,
They
that
were so
was
sweet. Why did he do that?
He's
And
psychotic.
then when he climbed on top of, first of all, Rosamund Pike was iconic in this movie. When he climbs on top of her in the hospital bed at the end, I had to look away. I was like, I don't want it. I don't. But then it wasn't bad. He didn't do what I thought he was going to do.
I know. I had the
Thank
same
God.
fears when I was watching.
That would have pushed me over the edge, I think. So, yeah, I thought it was really well done. And I get the hype. I definitely get the hype. I thought that the acting was good. And it had like that vibe. I'm trying to compare it to another movie, but just kind of like that campy 80s vibe.
Yeah, I could see what you're saying.
So I liked it.
I love a like academia film and like him just going to some countryside estate. I'm like, sign me up. Like, this is everything I want in a movie. You know?
When they had the party in this like labyrinth maze, which was the maze out of Harry Potter and A Court of Thorns and Roses with the worm.
Yeah.
There's a lot of mazes, actually, now that I think about it. But yeah, so there we go.
I'm
now
so glad you
there's
watched
no
it.
mystery. I'm happy I watched it. She was like 2.5 hours long. It was a long one.
It was.
But it was good.
And as a disclaimer as well, Poor Things is also long. It's like 2.5 hours.
This is a thing now. Yeah. Movies are just long. They used to be short. Now I'm watching a 3-hour movie all the time. But then I'll watch 12 episodes of a TV show.
Make it make sense.
Back to back with no break and not bat an eye.
I know.
I can't help it. Anyway. Okay, so other than that, I think that's all for TV, movies, catch up, news.
I feel like this was a pretty tame month for me. Not in a bad way. I just think that there wasn't anything super exciting that like happened. That there wasn't a lot going on that I felt the need to watch and read. So it was fine.
There's a lot of stuff ending.
That's what it was too.
Some stuff starting. The only thing that really started is Survivor, and then obviously we've been keeping up with Traitors and stuff. So yeah. All right. So we have something a little different today. Instead of a book question for each other, Heather has picked a Buzzfeed quiz for us to take.
And we can take it simultaneously because I sent you the link for it so that we both can take it. So it was, these 7 questions will determine which literary heroine best matches your personality. That's one you have, correct?
Yes, this is a lot of pressure.
I know.
All right, are we going to read the questions out?
I figured I'll read the questions and I'll read the responses and then we'll both give ours. So, which genre do you read most? Romance, sci-fi fantasy, mystery, poetry, coming of age, or young adult? I know yours.
I know yours.
You're going to go with mystery. I'm going to go with romance.
Okay.
All right. Oh, choose a modern day interpretation of a classic text. This is fun. So our options are Clueless, Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, Easy A, 10 Things I Hate About You, Pretty Woman, or Cruel Intentions. This is hard.
This is really hard. I have a top 3.
And your favorite movie's on here.
I know. I feel like I have to pick Clueless because it's my favorite movie. Although Cruel Intentions is so fucking good.
I know. I'm going with 10 Things I Hate About You.
I thought you might. That's it. That was my third. All right, I'm going Clueless.
All right. Pick a line from a book you read in AP Lit. Oh my gosh. I don't even know what half these are from. Last night I dreamt I went to Mandalay again, but I don't think us feel old at all, and us so happy. Matter of fact, I think this the youngest us ever felt. Well, I must endure the presence of a few caterpillars if I wish to become acquainted with the butterflies. Do you know what any of these are from?
No. That one sounds like Alice in Wonderland.
I know. The second one might be like Of Mice and Men, but I'm not sure. Nowadays, people know the price of everything and the value of nothing.
Okay.
And then, what are men to rocks and mountains? And she had waited all her life for something and it had killed her when it found her.
I'm going to go with the last one because it matches my vibe the most. She had waited all her life for something and it had killed her when it found her.
I'm going to go with the caterpillars. Okay. Oh, pick a celebrity who's known for their period pieces. Great. Names I can't pronounce. Juju Mbatha-Raw. That's probably wrong. Saoirse Ronan, Roger Jean Page, who by the way is really good in Bridgerton, Tobias Menzies, Benedict Cumberbatch, and Keira Knightley. It has to be Keira Knightley. It can't be anybody else for me personally.
It's Keira Knightley. I was obsessed with Keira Knightley when I was younger.
Yeah, I know.
Obsessed.
Pirates of the Caribbean, come on. Anna Karenina, whatever the word is.
Bend it like Beckham.
Pride and Prejudice.
A true period piece. Bend it like Beckham.
Although I do think my favorite movie she was ever in was Atonement. Have you ever seen Atonement with her and James McAvoy?
I don't think so. I knew she was in it, but I don't think I've seen it.
I have the book and I've never read the book, but yeah. But yes, Bend It Like Beckham is a wonderful period piece. You are so correct.
It is.
Which classic literary villain gives you the heebie-jeebies? Ms. Danvers from Rebecca, Professor Moriarty from Sherlock Holmes, Lady Macbeth from Macbeth, the White Witch from The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, Norman Bates from Psycho, or Victor Frankenstein from Frankenstein?
I personally think Norman Bates is just misunderstood. I'm going to go Lady Macbeth.
Me too.
Macbeth.
That's also my choice.
Look out. Okay.
Mm-hmm. If your life was a novel, choose an adjective to describe your character. Alluring, timid, curious, bold, charming. And is your sixth one blank?
No, mine says headstrong.
Oh, mine's just blank. It says nothing, so clearly it doesn't think that that's me, which I guess. I'm gonna go with charming.
I'm gonna go with blank/headstrong.
Because literally blank on mine. All right, finally, choose an estate. Ooh, I love this for your story to take place.
Okay.
This grand and green estate, this cozy column-adorned chateau, this fountain wonderland, this regal and traditional manor, this historic castle, or this mysterious abode.
Wow, all of these places look so haunted.
Yeah, I gotta go with the regal traditional manor. That speaks to me.
Ooh, okay. I'm gonna go cozy column-adorned chateau.
Ooh.
Because look at those trees in front. That's gonna be nice during leaf peeping season.
Yeah, that's very nice.
All right. Okay, calculating my results.
Okay, I got mine. Sorry, I had to retake it because, of course, why wouldn't I? You know, life right now. Anyways.
Yeah, we're having technical difficulties. Okay, read your results.
I got Elizabeth Bennet from Pride and Prejudice.
Oh, okay.
You are bold, steadfast, and you say what's on your mind. However, beneath that quippy exterior is a sensitive, albeit stubborn, young woman who is a lot softer than people realize.
I like that. That's
I like
cute.
that too. That's a good one. What did you get?
I got Emma Woodhouse from Emma.
Oh.
You're saucy, stylish, and a little cheeky. At times you can get wrapped around your own orbit, but at the end of the day, no one can deny that you care deeply about the people in your life whose happiness means the world to you. Wow, that's pretty accurate.
That is pretty accurate. Those are pretty good results.
I liked that.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll put the link to the quiz too in our Instagram story.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm glad that we actually got different results.
Me too. Because it could have gone either way. We could have gotten the same.
Okay, that was fun little change up. We like to keep it a little fresh.
Mm-hmm.
All right, anything else that we need to cover?
No, I think we are good, and I think that my technical difficulties cannot handle another issue.
Yeah, we need to stop while we are behind.
Exactly.
We are behind. These Bookish Banter episodes are just unhinged. But
constantly.
This is who we truly are. Okay, doing the reviews, that's the polished version of us.
Bookish Banter is us in general.
It's us uncensored.
Yes.
For the most part.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's all we have for you this month. If you like what you heard, please make sure to follow, subscribe, and rate and review the podcast on whatever platform you're listening on. If you have any book recommendations or questions for us, you can email us at fullybookedcalfpod@gmail.com. Also go and follow us on our socials to see our upcoming reads. We're on Instagram and TikTok at fullybookedcalfpod. Thanks for checking us out. And remember,
if you need us, we're fully booked. Bye.
Bye.